Alright, what's going on, everybody? Hope you're having a good evening so far. So we got another day of starting with Outer Wilds and then moving over to Chaos Head later. I came up with an idea for trying to land on the Quantum Moon, like basically right after I finished playing Outer Wilds last night. So I want to try and see if I can pull it off here tonight. And so the first thing we gotta do is find Quantum Moon. Let's see, best way to do that is to look at the map here. Looks like it is, well, it was, I just saw it at Brittle Hollow and then it disappeared. There, okay. Okay. So it's at Brittle Hollow, so let's see if we can... no, not that. Where's Brittle Hollow? There it is. See, the problem is, okay, so I'm gonna try and fly kind of under it, because I think this is kind of more like where the South Pole's gonna be. I mean, I could be wrong, but yeah. Okay. It's kind of hard to control exactly where the scout goes. Okay. Okay, yeah, see, I completely missed it that time. Nope. Okay, we probably need to go around. Nope. Okay, now I'm aiming too high. Oh shit. Yeah. I think it was trying to like land me on Timber Hearth or something. Okay. Okay, we're having a little bit of trouble here trying to find where I can land this thing. Ah, shit, it missed. Still nothing. Of course there is, look, there, it looks like there's kind of a, almost like you can tell kind of where it's spinning around. Okay, that's too high. There we go. Nope. Okay, well if that's the case, then I think we need to go around to the other side of this thing then. Okay. Yeah, like right over here. Okay. Shit. Okay, whoa, now we're getting too close to it. I don't understand. Well, you know what? My idea may just not work after all. No. Damn it. Okay, we don't want to fly into it, so dang, it just keeps trying to make me fly into it. Damn it. Okay, let's try just coming back around here again. Okay. I mean, well, I don't know. I mean, it's possible that... I mean, you can kind of see where the poles are based on the rotation of the moon, but I just don't know if trying to launch the Scout really works. Okay. Yeah, I mean, it seems like it's rotating right around this area. Alright, well, let's see. Oh shit, don't do that. Okay, hold on a sec. Okay, hold on, we're kinda... Okay. Alright, yeah, put this away. Get this. Okay. Fuck. Didn't work. Okay. Well, alright. It might have been the okay, now it's near the hourglass. Twins. Okay. There it is. Okay, let's see. I have to try this again. Okay. Okay, let's try and get up here, because it looks like this is... Right, perfect. Bro, I was literally observing the damn thing with my... whatever, my... landing camera, and the thing just disappeared on me. Frustrating. Alright, where is it now? Where'd this fucking thing go? The Giant's Deep. I don't see it there. It's at Timber Hearth. Okay, whatever. Let's just... Oh, it's over there now. It's that dark bramble. Fucking. There. Okay, it's like it's spinning sideways, so let's go over to one of these sides here. Okay, we're still need to... Okay. Damn it. I don't know, that was weird. For a second it almost looked like we did land on it, but pff, fuck me. Okay, well now I gotta find it again. Shit. Alright, where is it now? It's over here. Wait, is that it again? Oh, that's weird. Because we don't want to... Okay, we need to get up above dark bramble because we don't want to get sucked into that. Okay. Okay, we're still... Okay. Okay. Well, guys, I think my idea is a failure, looks like. Great. Now I don't have any fucking clue what I'm gonna do. Shit. Alright, where the fuck is it now? It's over here. Wait, what is this? What is this? Can we try to follow that? Is there a way I can just like mark that? But it's not gonna let me. That is weird though. I mean, I guess we can kind of head in the direction of the interloper. I don't know, this is gonna be kind of weird, but I guess we could try it. Shit, okay. Ooh, where's the interloper? I don't want to go to dark bramble. There, okay. So... So it's... Is it over here? No, I'm not anywhere close. Okay, hold on. Here, let me try. This is a little weird. Okay, because I'm looking sideways right now, which is kind of weird, but yeah, I need to be looking. I can't tell if it's down here. Whoops. That's not what I wanted to do. No, I'm heading the wrong fucking direction. Okay, so we need to be going this way then. Okay. Okay, we're kinda heading in that direction now. Kind of. I think I still need to maybe go over here. Fuck. I keep hitting the wrong button. I'm still heading too far south now. Okay. 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 Boy, it's really hard to get your bearings with this. I mean, it sucks because it doesn't give you any way of marking this. Okay, still not really sure what I need to do here. I mean, there's got to be a way to... find whatever that thing is. Okay. I don't know, for some reason it let me select it now. I don't know why that is, but it did. I mean, it's nothing. It's just a blinking light, essentially. It's a satellite. Well, what the hell am I supposed to do with this thing? Okay, yeah, we're gonna have that issue. Trying to get... Oh, there we go. Nothing. That's me. Well, what's the point of this then? What is that? 43. It's like it's got a temperature on it. And it keeps rising. So what does this temperature mean? How weird. I mean, I don't know what this is for exactly. Maybe, hold on. let's just do this. I mean, shit, there shouldn't be any issue with doing this, I don't think. It says unknown. Deep space satellite. Frequency discovered. Okay. Deep space radio. Are there other ones? It's just the same one. Hold on, let me see if I can find. Oh my god, there's one like way over there somewhere. Well, what's the point? Like, I mean, we found one. Oh, that's just the same one. I mean, that's... Wait. I think that's it. I mean, I don't think there are any other ones. It's literally just... Okay, well, I guess we'll just... I don't know. Is the temperature still going up? Yeah, it's like 100 now. 107. Yeah, I really don't know what this... I don't know. I mean, there's got to be a reason these things are here, right? Signal scope, deep space radio. Okay, hold on. Error map offline. What? Wait, what the fuck? Okay. Oh shit, now we're heading away from it. Oh, hold on. Wait, this is just pointing at Timber Earth now. Why is it? This is strange. Okay. Okay, we don't need... I mean, I don't know. I guess I already got it on, so I might as well use it, but... Okay, let's get this. We still got it on Deep Space Radio. It says it was around here somewhere. Okay. It's like it's... Well, shoot. Is it down here? Oh, okay, we don't want to go there. Okay. Is it under the water? I mean, this is kind of weird. Well, I don't know. It's gonna be too high. Ah, this is where it's coming from over here. Radio tower, yeah. Okay. I don't think I'd ever actually seen this before. What does this say? Closed due to fire damage. The old radio tower, while an important landmark, is unfortunately closed thanks to the unsanctioned flight testing of an extremely powerful model rocket. While we hope to repair the radio tower in the future, all construction efforts are currently focused on the planned museum expansion at the observatory. Sincerest apologies, except to Slade and Mika Hornfells. Okay. Alrighty. Huh. I mean, shit. I don't know. I guess. Yeah, so that's probably the one that I already went to, so it's there. Are there any other signals? Anything else? Radio tower. I think that's it, dude. I really don't think there's anything else with these deep space satellites. There's the quantum moon. Bro, what the fuck was that? Alrighty. Well, I don't know. I don't think we really discovered anything from doing that. I don't know. I guess we'll just try doing the whatever. We'll try doing the quantum moon again. Map offline? Why is it saying map offline? I can't. Okay. I mean, that's bullshit, dude. Why is my map offline? Alright, we'll make this shit work then. it's like... Shoot, now I'm having trouble figuring out exactly where it's spinning around. Fuck, dude. Shit, man. I don't know what else to do, dude. I just... Hey. Yeah, see, that makes it hard to, like, It's like the pole, I may be failing to land on it because the pole like moves away from me by the time I've like, I mean, you match the velocity, but then it's like the pole still tries to move away from you. It's weird. See? It's like it's going... Damn it. See what I mean? Like by the time I approached it, I was already too far away from the pole. This really sucks, dude. Okay. I gotta figure out a way to do this. See, the pole's now, the pole is up there. I mean, I don't know. Should I just try to fly straight into it? Golly. Well, I just don't think this is how you land on the quantum moon. Sucks, but what else can I do? Shit, I'm gonna fly right past it. Fuck. Okay. Well, definitely could have been worse. All right. Okay, Hourglass Twins. Shit. There it is. It's gonna miss. Oh shit. That literally like skimmed the side of the damn thing. Oh, okay, hold up. Don't get too close to it. Ah, fuck. Bro, this is just too frustrating. It just doesn't matter. Okay, well, I guess the other thing I could do is, okay, now the low batteries come up. Where? Now it's that Brutal Hollow. God damn it. fuck? Alright, let me think. Quantum. Should, oh my god, what the fuck, dude? This thing keeps fucking with me. Where is it? I can't tell if that's this or what. So let's try and get closer here. Yeah, there's definitely a signal. Problem is, it's all over the planet. It doesn't matter where. Okay, well, all right. Signal identified quantum moon. Oh, well, okay, it just reappeared right near here. Okay, actually this could help, because Island Shore. Okay, no, that's just Giants Deep. That ain't it. Alright, we gotta find Quantum Moon. Where are you? Grove Shard. Hold on, Quantum Moon. Okay. Oh my god. Okay. It is 20. Come on, baby. This has got to be it, right? Yep. Tower Shard. Okay. Is it? Oh, it's just near. Okay, fuck. Tower Shard, Island Shard, unknown. Unknown? Seriously? Wait. That's just Timber Hearth. You're telling me there's an unknown quantum fluctuation at Timber Hearth? Is that what you're telling me? Well, never mind then. I don't give a shit about fucking Timber Hearth. Okay, let me see. Tower Shard, unknown. Cave shard. Island shard. Come on, where's the quantum moon? Where are ya? Come on. That's it. Shit. Tower shard, island shard, quantum moon. Looks like it's just around dark bramble now, I think. Come on, man. I don't think I've ever seen it near dark bramble before, though. That's pretty unusual. Okay. Okay, well, I think we probably ought to just stop here, probably. My headset's probably about to die, so let me see real quick here. Okay, I'm gonna switch over right now, so give me a couple minutes and I'll be right back. Right. Time for some Chaos Head Noah. So we had a pretty crazy, I guess, reveal happen last night playing this. Basically, what happened was Takumi met up with Yua again so that they could walk home together. And then while they took a stop on their route to look at the lake, Takumi was, I guess, curious about the bag that Yua was carrying with her, so he reached out to touch it, but then Yua immediately knocked his hand away. But then the bag basically got knocked over and a bunch of stuff came out of the bag, and Takumi saw that it was a bunch of stuff about New Gen. And so at that point he figured that Yua was basically not socializing with him because she wanted to be friends with him, but rather because Takumi was, I guess, at this point kind of wrapped up in the whole New Gen deal. And so basically she just wanted some information from him. And then at that point she just decided to go ahead and like spill all the beans and told him that she was basically investigating him because she felt like, or she thought that he was probably behind the murders that happened recently in Shibuya. Of course, Takumi denied that, but then she dropped the big reveal that she thought Takumi was that guy in the chat that sent him a bunch of links, because basically she saw that the chat log from that time when that lurker was in the chat and then sent Takumi the links, the timestamps for when he sent those were like a day in the future from when Takumi was receiving those messages. So basically she thinks that Takumi from the future is Shogun, the guy that was lurking in the chat. So essentially what this implies is that Takumi has some kind of split personality deal going on, because he has no recollection of being Shogun. And then I left off like right after that reveal, so kind of a cliffhanger, but yeah. So now we're on the next scene here. I turned on my computer and took a bite out of a fish sausage.
僕じゃない。
The Seiratan wallpaper came up on the monitor.
僕がいるべき世界は
I booted up ESO without the slightest hesitation.
ここじゃないんだ。
Okay. And that's the end of chapter 1. Beep, beep. Anybody going on the field trip, get on. Takumi Nishijo lay on the tatami mat, a colored pencil in his hand. This time it was yellow. Just a few minutes ago, it had been red. He was happily scribbling with his pencil across the whole of his open sketchbook. Takumi liked to draw. Even during class, he was always scribbling something in the corner of his notebook. The TV was turned on, showing the morning news. For a fourth grader like him, though, the news was boring. He didn't look at it at all. Beep beep. You can't bring more than 300 yen for snacks. He was drawing a yellow bus and pretending he was the bus driver. The bus is full, so off we go, whoosh. He envisioned the scene in his head as he put it onto the page. It wasn't uncommon for him to get too excited and let his pencil go off the sketchbook and onto the tatami mat. Whenever that happened, his little sister Nanami would yell, "Hey, don't mess up the mat." She was a little brat and he didn't care. He kept drawing anyway. When it came time to draw the passengers on the bus, he suddenly stopped. And then he ripped the sketchbook up. Yesterday, the day before he was supposed to go on the class's fall field trip, he'd suddenly been told by his parents that he couldn't go. He'd been looking forward to it for a long time. He'd been excited the whole day. So when his parents told him, he refused to accept it. He cried and said he was going to go no matter what, but it didn't matter. No matter what he said, his parents wouldn't listen. "We're saying this for your sake. It's impossible for you." That's all they would say. So he hid under his covers and got mad. So mad, he thought he might tear his blanket apart. He hated his parents from the bottom of his heart. That's how important, how critical the field trip was to little fourth grade Takumi. Everybody else got to go and he didn't. From his perspective, it was totally unfair. In his mind, there were two worlds. A lonely world where he was the only resident, and a fun world where everyone else got to be. He hated his teacher and his classmates for going without him. And he hated his parents for telling him he couldn't go. It wasn't long before that hatred boiled over. He bit his lip so hard it drew blood and began to mutter a curse over and over. I wish nobody got to go. The next morning, the phone started ringing really early. His mom would pick it up and answer it, seemingly shaken by something. She'd set it down and a little later it would ring again. Takumi couldn't sleep at all. It was past 9:00 a.m. Nanami was sitting on a cushion reading manga. She'd said, "I'll stay home from school with you," the day before, and so there she was. His dad had gone into work and was nowhere to be seen. His mom was so busy answering the phone that she hadn't made breakfast. Today, he didn't need to go to school. Glumly, he began to draw in his sketchbook, but it did nothing to help assuage his anger, and just when he'd ripped it up in frustration, there was a note of worry in Nanami's voice. He thought she was talking about his picture, but her eyes were glued to the TV set. Suddenly, she called out for their mom, who was still talking on the phone. Takumi looked disinterestedly over at the TV. It was showing a collapsed bridge on the highway. Only a small 50-meter section of the bridge had collapsed. A bus had been traveling right over the bridge at the time and had fallen through the hole. It was the bus Takumi was supposed to have been on. It was the one his classmates were all on. In a single instant, Takumi was able to envision almost everything that had happened. His classmates were all there. Some were crying, some had faces covered in blood. One was being carried off in a stretcher. A reporter was explaining the accident with a stern expression on his face, but Takumi couldn't understand what he was talking about. His mom was standing in the room's doorway, holding the phone in her hand and looking deathly pale. Dead. For some reason, Takumi was sure of it, because everything he was seeing on the TV was just like the scene he'd envisioned last night in his frustration and anger. In his mind, there was only a single thought, a strange certainty that he had the ability to see the future. He remembered a TV program he'd seen years ago about whether psychic powers were real or not. There was a psychic on the show who could see the future and put their powers to incredible use during the test the show had given. At the time, it was a huge deal. In the test, 12 items were put into 12 boxes numbered 1 to 12, and they had to guess which one would be put in which. The psychic would be in another room before anything happened and make their guesses there. Afterward, the show's staff would put the items into the boxes, and the results would be checked. Astonishingly, the psychic was 90% accurate, amazing the rest of the cast. Takumi had been watching the show, and he'd made his own predictions as well. Every single one was right. Of course, he'd never told anybody this, but that's why now he thought that he'd foretold the crash unfolding on the screen. His mother tried to reach down and pick him up, but he slid past her and crawled to the corner of the room. She whispered in a hollow voice, her gaze wandering around the room. Takumi felt like he was about to throw up. It was all rotten, he thought. What good was seeing the future? In that moment, he felt his heart turn cold. For a while, he didn't talk to anyone. He became completely silent. He didn't say a single word to a single person. His parents were already overprotective, but this only made it worse. He gradually started to find them ridiculous and began to keep up his silent act deliberately. That was his way of getting back at his parents, he thought. He was so quiet that they took him to a psychiatrist at a general hospital. He was diagnosed with PTSD. Of course, he didn't have PTSD, so he never took the medicine they gave him. He just pretended to take it. His parents never picked up on the act, and even when he saw how worried and miserable they looked, he didn't feel the slightest bit guilty. It all felt like a lie. The whole world was filled with fiction. It was filled with evil. Evil that was out to get me.
いつもあなたが使っているチャットルームへログインして自分で調べてみてください。私の言っていることが間違っていないってわかるはずです。それと、私が言ったことは全部本心です。これだけは信じて。
After her bizarre speech, she added that last sentence and then left. Of course, I couldn't believe her. How could I believe her when she'd lied to me? The everything I was that she'd shown me was something I refused to accept, no matter what. I wanted to believe there was no way I could be Shogun. But from the timestamps on the chat log, it was clear that the conversation didn't make sense.
僕は無遊病なの。
At the time that Shogun had sent these messages, I hadn't been asleep. I'd been at Cafe, sure, but I hadn't been asleep. I couldn't have been sleepwalking. Then why didn't I have any memories at all of writing these comments as Shogun? Was my body under somebody else's control? The very idea was ridiculous. I decided what I needed to escape from all the lies was some good old ESO, my other fictional world. In ESO, everything was a lie. It was just a game, after all. But in Basilard, I could be Nightheart, a godlike being. If only the lies and fictions could be like this, I could accept that reality. I wanted to be here forever. What's wrong with that? Or maybe ESO's world was the real one, and this one was the fake. This one was the game. Takumi Nishijo was just a fictional character, and my true identity was Nightheart.
ねえ、 ナイトハルト。
I called out to the paladin on the screen. Am I controlling you? Or are you controlling me? Are you the real person? And I'm the avatar? What if the world I'm in is a game? If that was the case, it would explain everything. If somebody was staring at me right now, just like how I was staring at Nightheart, the answer to that question would be the player controlling me. If that was the case, then I wish they'd stop sucking at the game so much, but an avatar doesn't get to complain. It would explain how Shogun and I could be the same person. It was like with Lieselot. Lieselot and Nightheart couldn't exist in Basilard at the same time. They both had the same player, me. Maybe in the same way, Takumi and Nishijo and Shogun couldn't both exist in this world at the same time. Or maybe it was like a bug. Speaking of bugs, maybe these strange women appearing in the murder cases were all bugs too. The images Shogun sent me flashed through my mind, and I winced. I shook my head desperately. I wanted to run away from everything. If there is a player controlling me, then please reset the game. Just start over from character creation. Shit. The waiting room at the university hospital was filled to overflowing with old people waiting for their exams. Nothing had changed since I'd first come here several years ago. It was as if time itself had stopped. Everyone wore a gloomy expression. Between that and the stench of disinfectant, the air was heavy and stale. 5 minutes in this room was enough to make you want to kill yourself. I didn't like hospitals. The lobbies were filled with people, but once you went down a hallway, it felt like you were completely alone. They had always really scared me. Bro, this looks like a fucking prison or something. It felt like the hallways were full of the stench of death. It always seemed to me that death was the true face of a hospital. And if you went further down the hallways, you'd find even more terrifying, awful secrets. So to tell the truth, I didn't want to come. But there was something I had to know, and so I had no choice but to sit here, waiting for my exam. Even while I was playing ESO, the words Yua had said kept spinning through my mind, and I couldn't concentrate at all. I ended up staying awake all night, imagining all kinds of terrible things, and started to get really scared of there being something wrong with me. At last, I decided to go to a hospital so I could get a doctor to tell me that I was completely normal. I wanted to prove that Yua was the crazy one, not me. I was used to coming to the psych ward of this hospital. When the lady at the front desk had asked me if it was my first time here, I'd nodded without thinking about it, but it wasn't my first time at all. Ever since the bus accident, my parents had taken me here on a regular basis. When I got to middle school, my doctor told me I was completely cured, and I'd stop going. It had been about 4.5 years since I last come here. The first doctor to look at me was an old man who was supposedly an authority in his field, but he'd only talked to me the first few times before handing me off to one of his students. Of course, his student wasn't that much younger either. If anything, he'd looked older than the first one. That doctor, Dr. Takashina, had said something to me that I'd remembered last night.
ここは病気や怪我だけじゃなくて心にも効く病院なんだよ。
I didn't like the hospital, but he was really nice and he seemed like a really good guy. Not that this had stopped me. I'd kept up my act of deceiving the adults. It was Dr. Takashina who had seen through my deception, though, and had given me an official diagnosis of completely cured.
あの人に調べてもらえれば。
What would he say if he knew I'd grown up to be a creepy otaku? No, he probably didn't even remember me. I waited another 3 hours before they finally called my name. It was a different exam room than the one I'd been seen in 4 years ago, but I was welcomed by a face I recognized. He was the very image of a trustworthy older man. He looked older than he probably was, but he had a kind expression, and that kindness came across in his mannerisms and way of talking. He hadn't changed at all in the 4 years since I'd last seen him. I wondered if he'd even aged at all. Not that I was even sure how old he was. The desire to beg him for help grew stronger and stronger within me. He was somebody I could count on. He was somebody who would save me. I was so happy to see him again. Until I heard the first thing he said.
今日はどうしました?
His voice was soft and gentle and put you at ease. But there wasn't the sense of friendliness I'd seen when I came here before. It was like he was talking to me for the first time. I couldn't handle it, so I decided to remind him.
西条です。
ん? ああ、これはご丁寧に。高階です。はじめまして。
He bowed to me. I couldn't say anything. Nice to meet you. That's what he had just said. He'd forgotten me. It made sense. It had been 4 years after all. But I thought that he of all people, would remember me. I'd kind of had that hope, whether it was fair or not. When that hope was shattered, it just made me sadder. It felt like I didn't matter. He looked in my eye as he spoke, but I looked away.
無遊病かどうか調べてほしいと書いてあるが、何かあったのかな?
That's right. That's what I'd said on the form. But it didn't matter now, if he didn't even remember me.
別にいいじゃん。先生が覚えてようが覚えてなかろうが関係ないっしょ。 最初の目的を忘れちゃダメ。
Oh, right. I hadn't come here to see Dr. Takashina. I'd come to prove that I was normal. Seeing him again was just a bonus. What did it matter if he forgot me? If Seraton hadn't reminded me, I might have broken down right there. Whew.
自分でも知らないうちに外に出かけててパソコンで文章打っててそれを全く覚えてないなんてありえますか？
Good lord, why does he fucking talk like that?
おお、
知り合いからそう指摘されて混乱しちゃって。
その知り合いの人が冗談を言っているっていう可能性はあると思うかい？
Yua's eyes had been dead serious. She didn't look like she was teasing me or anything. If nothing else, she certainly seemed to believe what she was saying.
わかりません。
なるほど。ちなみにその知り合いとはどういう関係だろう？恋人？
はあ？
What was this guy talking about? What did that have to do with anything?
いや、言い方が悪かったかな。じゃあ言い直そう。
Yeah, trust me, dude. I actually, well, I might be kind of power leveling here, but anytime you go to like a psychologist or a therapist or whatever for like a very specific reason, like what he's talking about, they're never just gonna like give you a specific answer to that specific situation. It's always gonna be like broader picture. That was probably not the right way to phrase it. Let me try again.
その知り合いの人は君が意識もないまま歩き回っているのを実際に目撃したのかな？
Oh, was that what he meant? I shook my head.
じゃあ証拠はないわけだ。
I shook my head again.
そいつ探偵気取りっていろいろ証拠を突きつけてきて。
うん、そういうことか。ちなみにこれまでにも無遊病の兆候はあったかい？
いえ。
朝目覚めたらいつものベッドじゃなくて違う場所で寝てたっていうことは過去に一度でもあった？
いえ。
じゃあその知り合いに言われたのが初めてっていうことだね。
I nodded weakly before forcing myself to speak.
僕、寝てないんです。
もしかして怖いのかな？でもそんなに深刻になる必要はないよ。
いや、その。
That wasn't it. That wasn't what I wanted to say. But I wasn't sure how to explain it, and couldn't get my thoughts together in my head. I lost my chance to speak. He scribbled something in his chart before spinning around to turn away from me, and then leaned forward toward the back of the exam room.
葉月くん、ちょっと。
はい。
Made Hazuki wear glasses? Okay. A young nurse came over. The doctor showed her my chart and said something softly to her, and then she quickly went back further into the room. What was that about? He turned to face me again. Then, in a gentle tone, he explained to me what sleepwalking was. When someone falls asleep, he said, first they enter REM sleep, and then non-REM sleep. REM sleep was when the body was asleep, but the brain was close to fully awake. Non-REM sleep was a deeper sleep, when the brain also rested.
無遊病はノンレム睡眠の時に起きやすいって言われてる。
Oh, really? I figured it would have been...
脳が通常の活動をしていないから普通の受け答えとかは成立しにくいけど、ちゃんと返事もするし、階段などを踏み外さずに上り下りすることだってできる。原因としては精神的なストレスを抱えてる時になりやすいんだ。子供に多い症状だけど、成人でもよくある症状なんだよ。これで分かっただろ？深刻になることはないって言った意味が。
I actually didn't even know that. Sleepwalking is most common in children, not in adults. Did not know that. But I wasn't sleeping. I wasn't sleeping, and yet I was still doing things I didn't remember. The whole time I'd been supposedly typing into that chat as Shogun in room 37, I thought I'd been playing ESO. Was that what you'd call sleepwalking? I wanted to ask, but the doctor just kept talking.
無遊病かどうかを調べる方法としてはいくつかある。一番手っ取り早いのはここのベッドで寝てもらうことだね。ただ特定条件じゃないと発生しない場合もあるかもしれない。例えば自分のベッドじゃないとダメとか。意識がない状態で出歩くにしても目的もなくふらふらと歩き続けるのか。それとも何らかの強迫観念があってそれに影響されて何らかの一連の目的を持って出歩いているのか。それに君の精神状態についても特定の条件下じゃないとダメかもしれない。自宅のベッドの上ならリラックスできるけど、ここじゃリラックスのしようがないわけだ。どうする？とりあえず寝ていってみるかい？
It wouldn't hurt to try. I could make sure I wasn't sleepwalking, and then ask him the question I'd come to ask. The nurse, Hazuki, led me to a bed in the back. It wasn't meant for sleeping, so it was hard and uncomfortable. Wait, it wasn't meant... What? Bro, if a bed isn't meant for sleeping, then... well... I don't know. Still, it was better than the sofa I was used to sleeping on.
3時間くらいしたら起こしに来ますから。
This nurse was really cute. I lay on the bed, glancing at her while trying to make sure our eyes didn't meet. She had a somewhat young, helpless-looking face, and the air of someone whose life wasn't really working out the way they wanted it to. Still, she went about her work quickly and steadily. She felt like one of the girls from an old H game, One set in a hospital with lots of rape.
できるだけ目は離さないようにしていますので、安心して眠ってくださいね。
In other words, she'd be watching to make sure I didn't get up and start walking around.
それでは、ごゆっくり。
She smiled a little before closing the curtains and leaving. Surrounded by the white curtains, I let out a deep breath. I could hear lots of things. The voice of the doctor as he examined his patients, the other nurses walking around, even the door as it opened and closed. It was pretty hard to relax. Could I really sleep like this? I tried to close my eyes just to see if it would work. The second I did, the Guro images that Shogun sent and the sight of the corpse nailed to the wall came flooding back to me. I forced myself to think of Seira-tan instead.
タッキー、外出嫌いなのに病院来るなんてすごい。私前から思ってたんだけどさ、タッキーって実はすごく強い男の子だよね。
Inside my delusion, she was happily bouncing up and down. Next, she whispered to me in a sweet voice.
私、そんなタッキーの強さが好き。それに、タッキーは無遊病なんかじゃないよ。私、毎日タッキーのこと見てるもん。だからわかるさ。三次元女になんか騙されちゃダメだぞ。タッキーには私がいるっしょ。またコンテナハウスで二人きりで過ごそうね。ボケなす。
Seira, you're so cute. Seira. Seira was my ideal wife after all. No girl could ever be better than her. 3D? Who cares about 3D? I couldn't wait to go home. Seira would be waiting for me with a big smile and a welcome home. Just wait, Seira-tan. I'll be coming for you.
西条さん、起きてください。時間ですよ。
Seira-tan softly put a hand on my chest and gently shook me awake. I always dreamed this day would come. The day when Seira-tan and I would live together. Every day, she'd wake me up wearing nothing but an apron. Then she'd give me a good morning kiss.
西条さん。
I slowly opened my eyes. Somebody was looking down at me. Our eyes locked onto each other. It was the nurse, Hazuki. I quickly looked around. I was still in a hospital bed. I guess the part where Seira-tan was talking to me was just a dream.
おはようございます。結局3時間ぐっすりでしたね。
It's been 3 hours already? It felt like it had only been 5 minutes. As I rubbed my eyes, Hazuki glanced at me. She was covering her hand with her mouth, seemingly on the verge of busting out laughing.
セイラさんって彼女さん？
Oh God. He was saying that shit out loud.
ずっと寝言でつぶやいていましたから。
I could feel the blood draining from my face. I'd screwed up big time. I'd let a normal person hear me talking in my sleep. And I'd been saying Saraton's name of all things. Time to go kill myself.
でも、無遊病の症状は結局出ませんでしたよ。
As she spoke, she opened the curtains.
まあ、今日はたまたま症状が出なかっただけかもしれないから、無遊病でないっていう断定はできないですけど。
No, I'm not a sleepwalker. I needed to ask the question I came here for. But I didn't see the doctor. Hazuki offered me a sheet of paper. I looked at it. There were various questions for me to answer.
それはあなたの心理状態を把握するためのチェックシートです。心理テストのようなものね。それを書いてくれたら今日はもう帰っていいって先生が。
先生は？
ごめんなさい。ずっと診察が続いてて。来週まで様子を見て、まだ改善が見られないようならもう一度来てくださいって。
To be fair, he wasn't my personal physician or anything like that. He'd probably just given Hazuki, his nurse, instructions for me. But then, what was the point of even coming to this hospital? I wanted to ask about the awful possibility that I was being controlled by somebody who wasn't me. But Hazuki looked so apologetic that I didn't have the courage to demand to see the doctor. I decided to just fill out the worksheet she'd given me. I'd write out the symptoms I was experiencing on the back, I decided. Then I could come back next week to talk to him again.
チェックシートは質問に対してイエスかノーかだけを答える簡単なものですから。当てはまる点があったらイエスにチェックしてくださいね。今後の西條さんの治療に対する参考にしますから、じっくり考えて答えてください。
Hazuki was kind enough to give me a full explanation. Some of the questions on the test were weird. Not the sorts of things you'd expect to be asked at a hospital. It was almost like one of those online personality quizzes. What would answering these questions tell them? Hazuki was staring at me. She wasn't getting ready to leave. It didn't seem like she just had nothing better to do. She was observing me. No, watching over me. Being watched made me nervous, and so it was hard to think about the questions, but I suppose that was just a nurse's job. I decided to just forget it and fill out the sheet. Oh my god, I actually get to... Oh, this is weird, dude. Okay, well, I'm gonna save it here then. Do you prefer text? Yes. Do you sometimes have tinnitus? What? Have you ever felt someone's eyes on you and turned around? Yes. I mean, I'm just gonna go according to how he is in the game, so. Do stationary objects sometimes seem to be moving toward? No. Have you ever had a premonition that turned out to be right? Yes. Have you ever checked a digital clock and seen the same numbers repeat? What, like 1111? Yeah, that is kind of a weird question. Have you cried within the last month? Did he? Wait, did he cry? I don't think he did. Can you masturbate just using your imagination? Can you stay focused on just one mental image when masturbating? Okay. Can you fantasize about something with your eyes open? Oh, fuck me. Yes. Does the front of an automobile ever look like a face? Do you have difficulty going to the bathroom after watching a horror movie? Not a fan of haunted houses. When you start reading a book, do you lose track of time and immerse yourself? Do you think aliens are real? When you look at your horoscope, is it always right? Do you get motion sickness easily? Do you think God exists? Do you have a sixth sense? When you sleep, do you dream in full color? Wait, is that like unusual? Because, yeah, I definitely dream in full color. When you are asleep, do you ever understand that you're dreaming? Yes. Have you ever experienced partial memory loss? I mean, that could be what he's experiencing right now, I guess, but I'll just leave that unchecked. Do you have trouble making eye contact? Well, yeah, apparently he does. Does the sight of a lemon make your mouth full of saliva? When other people yawn, do you yawn too? I don't know. Okay, that's interesting. This this is saying like people used to dream in black and white because TV and movies were in black and white, but now that TV and movies are in color, now more people dream in color. That's weird. I don't know. That's just strange to me that people dream in black and white. Like, yeah, I don't think I've ever had a dream that was in black and white. I think my dreams have always been color. Anyway, yeah, interesting. You have a sixth sense. Ugh. We'll go
はい、
with that.
お疲れ様でした。
When I checked off the last few questions, Hazuki spoke to me before I had a chance to say anything to her. I'd been really embarrassed having her watch me the whole time. Maybe my face had been red. I quietly handed over the worksheet, trying not to look at her face. I hadn't had time to write my symptoms on the back.
それでは待合室でお待ちください。お薬が出てますから。
薬
I was getting some kind of prescription? The doctor hadn't said a word about that.
ええ、先生の指示で。弱い精神安定剤です。ぐっすり眠れるようになるし、副作用などもありませんよ。
Woohoo! Thanks, Doc. I was appreciative, but also the thought of waiting in that lobby again made me feel miserable. Wow. By the time I got back to Shibuya, it was evening. The hospital itself was in Shibuya Ward, but the closest station was Yoyogi. Taking the train was the fastest way to get there and back. The Yamanote line was as crowded as ever, though, and riding just 2 stations was enough to make me feel exhausted. I didn't think I was up for getting on another train, so I decided to walk from Shibuya Station to the base. There were just too many people at the stations. I hated crowds. They always made me feel like I was going to pass out. I didn't want to spend any more time there than I had to, so I quickly tried to get across Scramble Crossing. That area was so packed it was hard to even walk in a straight line. If you didn't keep a steady forward pace, you'd run into the people walking beside you or get hit from behind. There were also people blocking your path, trying to hand you packs of tissues with ads on them. They'd even force them into your pocket. I ignored the first one, but the second one was a cute lady, so I took some from her. These tissue people were just the worst. They shouldn't have been allowed to stand in the middle of the sidewalk like that. I took the tissues anyway, though, since they were free. I looked at the tissues I'd been given. This pack came with a small flyer with white text on a red background. It was a pretty weird color combination, kind of spooky. It wasn't a combination you saw often, that much I was sure of. I read the flyer as I walked along. It was a flyer for a blood donation service. As I looked at it, I thought back to the worksheet I'd been given at the hospital. I hadn't seen anything like it when I'd gone there 4 years ago. Maybe it was some new kind of diagnostic that had only gotten popular over the last few years. But still, I felt like I'd seen it before. Deja vu. Again. It felt like that was happening all the time lately. It was really creepy when your body and mind refused to do what you wanted them to. So I tried to dig through my memories to find out what was going on with this deja vu. My mother used to take me to the hospital about once a week. No matter what they asked, I'd never respond. I'd just move my head up and down or side to side. At first, they saw me in a normal exam room, but when I showed no signs of recovery, they started sending me someplace different. The other place was some kind of counseling room. It had a sofa and lots of stuffed animals, and seemed to have been decorated with the aim of putting the patient at ease. Dr. Takashina never blamed anybody. He just kept trying to make me better. He was the only one who figured out that I could speak, but just didn't want to say anything. My mother would always talk to me in a deliberately chipper voice. Dr. Takashina would always welcome me with a bright smile. The nurses were always kind too, and it felt to me like there had always been somebody else in that room. Right. He was always wearing a dark black suit. It was a weird outfit to see in a hospital. He was just as quiet as I was. I don't think I ever heard him talk. I never did figure out who he was. He didn't feel like a doctor. He always just stood off to the side looking out the window. I always called him Mr. Nozomi. He'd never actually given me his name, though.
Nozomi.
The man in the suit always wore a small badge. It read Nozomi. It looked like a logo of some kind, so it probably wasn't a name tag. Yeah, the worksheet had the Nozomi logo on it too. No wonder I thought I'd seen it somewhere before. I felt a little better now that the mystery was solved. What was Nozomi, though? It was clearly the name of some kind of company.
のぞみさんっていう美人女社長が設立したカウンターテロ組織とか、漫画みたいだ。
When I got back to the base, I ran a search for Nozomi, but it was just a common word that meant wish in Japanese, too, so there were too many results to narrow it down. Thinking back, the logical assumption was that Mr. Nozomi worked for a company that made those worksheets and was a salesman that had been visiting the hospital. Sometime recently, he'd finally managed to sell the hospital on using the sheets, and today I'd been asked to fill one of them out. No, wait. That was impossible. I'd never heard of a salesman or somebody on the outside being allowed to sit in on a patient's sessions. Just who was that guy? Crap. Now I had another nagging memory to deal with. At least I'd figured out where the déjà vu was coming from. I decided that next week I would ask the doctor about my memories. Until then, I'd forget about school and just stay in my room. I couldn't go to school if there was someone there trying to hurt me. I didn't want to break my schedule, but it wouldn't do me any good if I was dead. I gave up on my search for Nozomi and went to @channel to see if there were any interesting threads. The news board was filled with nothing but new generation madness threads. Even the ESO board had a recreate the new gen murders and ESO thread going. I was getting sick of it. When I logged into ESO, Grim was there. Nightheart. @chan's news boards have been boring as hell lately. Nightheart. It's all new gen crap. Grim. Well, it's the biggest story right now. Grim. Every time there's a new case, it's a big festival. Everybody goes crazy. Nightheart, they haven't caught the killer yet? Grim, well, you know, the cops are morons, lol. Grim, some idiots have even decided that it's actually a cute moe girl. Nightheart, that demon girl. Visions of the dark eyes of the girl I'd seen during the crucifixion killing came back to me, and I shivered. I didn't want to remember it at all, but the slightest little thing, and the memories came flooding back. I'd seen the killer's face. I knew who she was. Should I have told the cops? But I didn't want to get involved. Grim, Demon Girl? Is that the latest variation? Grim, yeah, that's going a little too far. Grim, anyway, New Gen is just fascinating stuff. Grim, I joined a New Gen community on Furepara. Nightheart, you're getting too into it. Grim, the only ones in our guild who aren't into it are you and Big Sis Geji. Gah, seriously? If that was true, then I wouldn't be able to keep up with the discussion in our chat channel. Grim, New Gen's just really messed up stuff. Grim, it's crazy to read about. Nightheart, I knew you were into Guro stuff. Nightheart, but don't tell me you're the kind of guy who wants to see art in his murders. That crucified corpse was such a mess. I thought it was some kind of art piece for a minute. If you wanted to call it artwork, I guess you could. Grim, nah. It'd be better if they had some perverted sexual element to them, right? Grim, it's like the ultimate kind of S&M. Nightheart, this guy's a goner. Somebody needs to do something about him. Grim, once you lose your virginity, you'll understand. Nightheart, so you're telling me you're not a virgin? Nightheart, you traitor. Ors. Grim, anyway. Grim, there's all kinds of stuff on the aggregator sites. Take a look sometime. Ors, an emoji that shows a person dropped on all fours in a depressed state. Oh, like the R is his arms and the Z is like his... That's kind of weird. Yeah, R is hands and torso and the Z is legs. Yeah. Exam results, your delusion level is within normal parameters. What? Okay, whatever. Ugh, I didn't want to look at them. They scared me. I wanted to run away from the fact that I'd been at the murder scene. That's why I cut myself off from all information about New Gen. That was how I'd hoped I could convince myself that it was all just a delusion. But in ESO, I was practically a god. It wasn't enough to be strong. I had to know everything. Especially since I was kind of a leader in the guild. If I was supposed to be the leader, but I couldn't even keep up with whatever everyone was talking about, it would just be embarrassing. I had to avoid that. I went to the address that Grimm gave me. The top banner read, New Gen Aggregator in big letters. Aggregator sites were a kind of wiki where any number of people could add information to articles about a certain topic. Wiki. System which lets anyone write hypertext. A New Gen aggregator site would have information about New Gen, constantly updated by different users. Some of that information wasn't trustworthy in the slightest, and sometimes there were trolls, but if you wanted an easy way to get a handle on the basic facts of something, it was good. There were always tons of links, for one thing. I decided to start with an article called The Case So Far. My pulse started to quicken. Just reading the site was enough to make me nervous. I could feel the sweat forming on my hands. The first case, the one they called Group Dive, was when a group of 5 boys and girls from a high school had all jumped off a building. It happened on September 7th, about a month ago. It was in the middle of the night at a place called Shibuya Cornelius Tower. The 5 had jumped off the building's helipad and died instantly on impact. The autopsy showed that each of them had DNA belonging to someone else under their nails, and there were scratch marks found too. It was theorized from this that the 5 of them must have jumped off while holding hands. There was no sign of any kind of suicide note left on the roof. Below the summary was some information asked by some internet detective. These types were often referred to as snakes, who'd actually gone to Cornelius Tower. Oh, yeah. Metal Gear Solid. According to him, the roof was off limits to visitors, and the door to it was kept locked at all times. Of course, it was locked at the time of the jump, too. None of the deceased had a key on their bodies when they'd been found. This meant that the helipad was, in a way, a locked room, like you saw in murder mysteries. There was nothing to suggest how the 5 of them had gotten up there. It was entirely likely that someone else had been there as well. The second case, the pregnant man, happened on September 19th, around 12 days after the first. Early in the morning, near a Shibuya station underpass, a college student was walking home from karaoke when they'd found a blood-stained man collapsed on the ground. The collapsed man was a university student who lived in Shibuya ward named Chizuo Konoe, age 21. He was dead when he was found, but he had an unnatural bulge in his stomach. The autopsy showed that someone had opened up his chest, shoved a newborn baby into his stomach, and then sewn him back up. In addition, DNA analysis had shown that there was no relation between the baby and the man. He was, according to reports, unmarried and had no girlfriend. The rest of it was internet speculation, but the baby appeared to be in the 32nd week of pregnancy, which would mean it was probably removed from the mother by C-section. Who the mother was, though, or where she was, or what she was doing, or even if she was alive or dead, none of that was known. It was possible that the cops knew, but if they did, they weren't talking. I looked away from the monitor, feeling like I was about to throw up. This was disgusting. The killer was insane. I knew that for sure. And it was also possible that girl had been behind these horrible murders. Welp, Japan's screwed. I took a moment to gaze at my beautiful Seiretan. Looking at her helped calm me down. I thought about taking the sedatives the doctor had given me, but for now, Seiretan was good enough. Still, though, I had to do it to keep up Nightheart's reputation as a leader, but reading these hurt.
そんなに辛いならさ、読まなくていいって。タッキーがド M ってんなら別に止めないけど、辛そうなタッキーは見てられないさ。もうやめよう。楽しいことだけしてようよ。いつもみたく私にハーハーしてもいいからさ。
Seiretan was such a nice girl. She was my only true ally, my wife. I put my elbow on the table and rested my head in my hand, taking deep breaths as I stared at Seiretan's smile. Whew. I felt so much better. Maybe I could read a little more if I took breaks to glance over at Seiretan. I decided to give it a try. Why had these two seemingly separate incidents both been given the label New Generation Madness? The group dive was treated as just a suicide at first. But after the pregnant man case, the net started taking another look at the group dive and found out how strange elements there were to the case. Speculation began that it was actually a murder, not a suicide. Supposedly, the parents of the dead kids and their friends all said there was no way they could have killed themselves. Since both the cases were in Shibuya, a traditional center for young people, the news started calling it the madness created by the new generation of youth, and then simply the New Generation Madness. The name stuck. And then there was the third case, the crucified murder, they were calling it. That was the one I'd seen. The aggregator site didn't have much information on the case because it was so new. The murdered man was Hisa Ota, a 56-year-old college professor. He'd been nailed with stakes to the concrete wall of an empty house. Starting at 8 p.m., the estimated time of the crime, neighbors heard what sounded like something hammering a nail. The sound lasted for approximately an hour. I'd heard that sound too. I could still hear it. It was an awful sound. For what it was worth, no connection had been found between it and the group dive or the pregnant man. But after 3 bizarre incidents in the same city of Shibuya, everyone naturally treated the crucified murder as the third part of the New Generation Madness. The media and police were saying that all 3 were committed by different individuals, but The position, or rather hope, of most people online was that it was a single person, or failing that, a single group. There were some bizarre theories involving the occult going around too, and some people were saying New Gen got its start in the earthquake 2 months ago. 2 months ago, there'd been an Intensity 3 earthquake in Shibuya. An Intensity 3 earthquake was small enough that you could be walking down the street and not feel it. But despite the small size of the quake, it had made the news because 8 people had died. Looking back, it was true that the New Gen incidents had started after the earthquake. So the proponents of the occult theory were saying that the 8 deaths in the earthquake could be counted as the first New Gen case. Sometimes they'd get into arguments with more mainstream New Gen theorists. No matter who was behind it, it was bizarre that 3 such incidents could happen without a single clue as to who was behind it. A lot of people online were eagerly awaiting a 4th incident, too. If I wasn't directly involved, I might have been all wicked myself, participating in the festival and eagerly waiting for a 4th incident, too. Okay, let's get a reminder of what WKTK is. Net slang for hopeful and excited. Okay. Damn it. They were all having so much fun when I was feeling miserable.
犯人を早く捕まえてくれよ。
It had been over a week since Crucified, and there had been nothing from the demon girl or the police. If they knew I was there, at a minimum the police would have come to talk to me. But there was no sign of them. Whew. It looked like I was going to be able to stay out of this, to not get involved.
あなたには予知能力がありますか？
Yua's words flashed through my mind.
予知能力があるって思わなきゃ納得できないような画像データをあなたが持っていたから。
Just when I was about to finally relax, I suddenly found myself feeling awful again. The photos that Shogun had sent me, they were still stored on my computer. Everything Yua had said was just a figment of her own delusions. It was crazy. It wasn't even a real theory. I hadn't been able to ask about it at the hospital, but there was no way I could have been someplace else while I was awake, doing something I didn't remember. It was impossible. It had never happened before, for one thing. Those Guro photos had to be fake.
だったらさ、合成だって証拠を見つけちゃえばいいさ。あの画像解析しちゃおうよ。
But they're creepy, and I don't really want to look at them.
あの女を論破しちゃえば、タッキーはもう怯えることなく平穏な生活に戻れるんだよ。やるしかないっしょ。
Yeah, that's right. Yua seemed convinced that I was the one behind Crucified, but that was impossible. I'd seen the person who'd actually done it. I couldn't let her blame me for the crime. I gulped and double-clicked to open the folder where my cash was stored. Alright, I think I'm gonna go ahead and stop here for tonight. Well, today was pretty disappointing with Outer Wilds, but I don't know. Hopefully tomorrow will be more productive in that game. And yeah, I'll go ahead and do some more Chaos Head as well tomorrow. So I'll see y'all then. Have a good night.